How about that? Like, that's
I
cool.
always match my guests, and I say every single time for people who watch, like, consistently, that I do match my guests. So, and we have a vibe with our glasses. So,
We do. We do have a vibe.
yes. Oh, it's afternoon. Great afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Chai Together. I am your host and founder, Prateepa Day. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. And I am here with Miss Judy Herman. How do you feel?
I feel wonderful being with you. It's awesome being in your presence,
Oh,
Prateepa. You're
thanks.
awesome. Yes.
You look very put together. Is that how
Oh,
you're feeling?
yeah, I guess so. Actually, I was recording my feelings every morning. I do this little
Wow.
journal, and I just like one of those questions is, how do you feel? And so, yes, I
Wow.
feel alive, and I'm a morning person, I guess you could say. Some people are not.
Mm-hmm.
But that routine in the morning to just check in how you feel and write a gratitude list, of things
Mm-hmm.
that you're grateful for, it can really ground you in the rest of your day. So yeah, I was excited. I was anticipating our time together.
Oh,
And it's a lovely being with you, Pratiba, for sure. I
thank
love it.
you.
Yeah, I
And
love
I
you
do want to
today.
tell the viewers, thanks for tuning in. I want to tell them that we actually met in person
We
regarding that photo shoot. How did all that go?
Oh, there's a story behind that. You probably don't
Oh,
want to go into that right now.
okay. No. Okay.
Some photo shoots go great and some don't, and
Oh,
that's quite all
no.
right. But anyway, yeah, it was really cool to meet face to face when wearing masks back then.
No, you and I weren't. No, we
Yeah,
weren't.
okay, so but that
Hmm.
was really special to do
Hmm.
that. Yeah, when we've been
So,
on screen
yeah.
so much.
So before I dig deeper, I'm going to tell the viewers about you. May I?
Awesome.
So, Judy K. Herman is an inspirational speaker, mental health counselor, and author of Beyond Messy Relationships, which is her book, a top 10 finalist for Author Academy Awards. Judy is also an innovative therapist who pulls readers into her intense and dramatic memoir, along with psychological wisdom and spiritual insights. And you can learn more about her at judycounselor.com. How do you how do you feel like identifying with the fact that you're a counselor regarding like mental health? Do you ever feel like you're like limited because this is the label that you have, or do you feel like you can still grow and stretch that label out and do other things? Like, do you ever feel that
Oh,
way?
yeah, definitely. You know what? Since you and I have talked face to face, there has been a whole lot happening actually
Right.
too, and my identity beyond just
Right.
being a counselor, because when you're a counselor licensed in your state in the United
Hmm.
States, it's different, in other parts of the world. But like, so I'm licensed in Tennessee and Georgia.
Hmm.
And so then that confines me just to those two states, even though we're doing virtual and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. But yeah, having an identity beyond that. Of course, we're more than our identity. I mean, more
Hmm.
than the roles in our lives, period. But since you and I've talked, I am doing speaking. I've developed a coaching program called Show Up and Be You. So it's my own proprietary methodology. So this is something that I can do internationally and all over, because it's a coaching program. It's very transformational. It's 12 weeks long, and it is for executive women who have husbands that are resistant, and the women who have like a growth pattern developmentally, spiritually, professionally. They keep on growing, but a lot of times husband just wants to stay the same, or he's maybe threatened, or
Mm.
maybe going through some low grade depression, but this negativity and this energy just surrounds him. And so women need support. And so that I
Mhm.
developed a program, and I absolutely love being a coach. I mean, I don't like that word. Nobody likes
Yeah,
the
right.
word.
It's so overused. What do you feel like? Because I'm a coach. Like, everyone's a coach, like, right, in our niches. But like, what do you use? Do you say, like, I know someone who says, like, I'm a guiding light?
Or transformational coach or something like
Yeah,
that. You know what? I don't even think I have an official thing for it yet. I don't know,
yeah,
executive coach, whatever, that kind of takes you in a different realm. But
right.
I don't know. So if you go to the middle of my website, it says Subi Coaching. So
Wow.
people will say, well, what is Subi?
Yeah,
That is
it's catchy though. It
show
makes
up
you
and
interested.
yeah, it's an acronym for show
Mhm.
up and be you. Show up and be you. Stop
Subi.
walking on eggshells
I
and
like
live your
that.
true life. Mhm.
I like that. You should definitely have like shirts or something like live Subi free. Like, I don't know, live, you know what I mean? Like Subi, like do something with that.
Yeah, like, let's Subi together. Maybe
You're
the
so
name of a
funny.
dance or something. You've
One thing
got
about
some
you, I know your personality is I don't know if quirky is the right word, but it's like fun and like you're always enthusiastic. Is that like naturally like how you are, or is that, did anyone ever say like, hey, are you like coping with something? Is that why you're like so, putting on like a mask? Like, did you ever get that?
Well, I think it's pretty primal for me to be
Mm.
who I am, as far as quirky or whatever. I was a cheerleader in high school and
Oh,
middle
okay.
school and all of that stuff. So, and then my family does accuse me well, I don't know. I've been accused of being like a Pollyanna type of thinker, right?
Hmm.
But I am what you would call more optimistic.
Yeah.
You can either be a pessimist or an optimist. I
Mm.
mean, we try to label things and we put them in
Right.
categories, but no, this is the real me. And being a counselor, you have to jump through so many hoops, go to your ethics courses and try to, have this persona. And I have more freedom at this stage in my life,
Yay.
my own growth, and realizing, you know what? I am so much more than a counselor. We all are more than whatever our roles are
Mhm.
in life or however we identify ourselves. So for that personality to come out, I don't know, it's been a journey, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But generally, I am a more upbeat. And so then I can also be accused of really not getting into I mean, I want to bring a person out of pain. You got to feel their pain when you're in a therapist, but
Mm.
I don't want people to be stuck in their pain. I want to let them know that there is life beyond the pain. I've been through a lot of pain and trauma myself, but it doesn't have to identify you. It doesn't have to be your personality. And you can laugh at funerals. I mean, people do, right?
Mhm.
And these emotions can, flow in and out. But yeah, there's probably more energy, but I think honestly, in the morning, I have more
Yeah.
energy. Early afternoon's pretty good too, since it's early afternoon right now.
You're so funny. Well, firstly, thanks for being here.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
something else comes to mind as you were, talking about laughing at a funeral. So, so you're divorced now, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I need to clarify, that's not laughing at a funeral, that's laughing while you're at a funeral.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
Yes.
I am divorced, and I don't even like that word, that D word.
Mm,
I was talking with another therapist, and I love this term, that a marriage, it came to a
that's right.
natural completion, right? And so, I love what our mentor, Les Brown, the terms that he's used, that he'll
Mhm.
make reference to, well, that, the marriage was long past its expiration date, or people
Wow.
are not living together, they're dying together. So
Mhm.
the health and well-being of one person or two people within a marriage, it needs to, like, if the stress you're going through is shortening your life,
Mm,
and that's what's chronic stress, toxicity between two will actually do. And we need to reevaluate that. I do have a thing on my website, relationship stress quiz. So you can take a relationship stress quiz to
yeah.
see how stressed you are in your relationship. But you're part of I mean, you're part of it. We all co-create
Mhm.
whatever we have in our relationships. So anyway, that kind of took me on a rabbit trail with your
Hey, that's
question
what
there.
you're here to do. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about the guests sharing the stories. No one
Yeah.
wants to hear my repeated story from 2020.
Oh, but
Anyway,
our stories keep on. I mean, they keep on evolving.
evolving. I'm not, see, yeah, it's not the Pratiba from 2020. I'm a 2021 Pratiba. Like, I don't, that story, what I shared on last, like, that's not my story. You know what I mean? That was
Mhm.
a part of my life. But
Yeah.
your story is really like, what you've overcome and what you're doing now. Like, that is the present and the future. Um, but just, like how last year is briefly this, but this is what I am, this is what I do, and it's about the people. So, but regarding the divorce, what I wanted to ask was, during that time, you know, It's interesting people's perspectives, even at funerals or things. If someone is having a good time at a funeral, they're chatting with friends, and others may perceive, wow, like that is so rude, or you should be ashamed of yourself, etc. Like even during your divorce, did you ever come across people being not supportive because, let's say, you felt free or you felt liberated, and happy instead of being miserable, which you already were for a long time? So, like, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to let you know and your audience know we have 2 points of references. And this has been a hard thing for me. So, divorce number 1 after a 30-year marriage and having 4 kids. Divorce number 2, having been married to a husband with bipolar disorder, which was, he had a handle on it for so many years. But so unfortunately, like I really had a hard time with this actually,
Mhm.
to actually be a quote unquote twice divorced relationship therapist. Here I was a mental health therapist
Wow,
and
yeah.
specializing and having all this training and with couples therapy and working with couples for many years. And so I did, luckily stayed in the marriage long past its expiration date, as our
Mm.
mentor Les Brown would say. But yes, there's this grief that you're going through, and usually one person in that marriage is going to be very, sad, and caught off guard or whatever, and hung on for all it's worth, and the other person is going to feel the relief and the life that's ahead. Rarely do you have two people, even though they say, it was compliant, but rarely do you have two people that are saying, yeah, this was, we're both relieved here. So
Mm.
yeah, you're going to set yourself up really just showing up and being real. You're going to you're going to have opposition coming somehow, whether you're going through a divorce or something else.
So
Mhm.
you were hanging on because, right, we were talking about labels because you had that title of a relationship therapist, and it's like, people would judge, that you're divorced, so how are you a relationship therapist? But it's about the experience. Even if you are divorced twice, you have that experience to share, and now I can help you better your relationships because of what I went through. So, but at that time, you weren't thinking that way. You were just, you were fearful, like you didn't want to, end your relationship, because then how would that prove, your career if you didn't have one of your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff just was it entered into it, which is crazy. I actually did a Facebook Live today. I'm showing up live on my Facebook
Mhm.
Monday through
Oh,
Friday,
congrats.
but the title of it was, if anybody wants to check it out, but it's
Mhm.
called "You Didn't Marry the Wrong Person." You did
Mm.
not marry the wrong person, even if it ended in divorce,
Wow, I
because
love it.
you really didn't. And there's three things that either you pick the person, like it's like not an accident that you chose the person that you did,
That's
and
right.
it's kind of like you're a magnet for each other, but there's a lot of subconscious stuff that comes. So you
Mm.
either pick, project, or provoke. I don't know if you want me to go through all of that or not, but
You
I did
can.
address
You say
that
whatever
today.
you want.
Well, you pick somebody, and these are subconscious agendas, right? You pick someone that you feel this familiarity with. You just feel the chemistry. That's where the chemistry comes, actually, but you're
Mm.
unaware of it. How you learn to go toward pleasure and away from pain within your family of origin, and yet there's these things that, oh, they feel so familiar to you, and then your head is kind of like you're under the influence of drugs, basically, in
Mm.
your brain, because everything looks bigger than life, and that's what connects you together. But this is
Wow.
all subconscious stuff that those chemicals rub off, right? Or
Mhm.
you project. Now, like, yeah, in the olden days when they have projectors and you go to the movie theater and it projects on the screen, right? It's kind of like we project onto that other person, like dad who abused you or mom who
Mm.
whatever. So you project onto that person your family of origin stuff that needs to be healed and hasn't healed yet. So either pick, project, or provoke. You actually do things within that relationship that invites the very thing that you got in childhood, but really what you want is the opposite. And these are all subconscious agendas. But when we
Wow.
raise our level of awareness about that, it can be very freeing to realize. So, yeah. But it's not an accident because you did marry that person
Mm.
to bring some awareness to the healing that you need to do in your own life, to realize how you co-created what you had, to realize it's an invitation to grow and to grow up and to grow out of. And, in some cases, because your spouse can choose to do that, to grow and grow up, because we're all as human beings designed to grow. I mean, we're not ever designed. None of us are supposed to just like, once we get through school or whatever, grad school, whatever we've done, we're not supposed to stay the same. It's like you said,
Mhm.
like last year, you got, Pratiba 101. Now you got,
Sativa
201 or whatever.
2.0.
2.0, right.
Right.
Right, exactly. And,
Wow.
and then you'll have Pratiba 3.0 and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
and that goes through our own journeys. But a lot of times people, when they get older, in their 40s, 50s, 60s,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they put so much energy into their kids and launching them into adulthood or getting them through their education.
Mhm.
But the invitation is to continue this journey and be a model for your kids, your adult kids. So anyway, that's what I've attempted to do in my life. And
What are you drinking?
well, you know what? I've got some. I just have water basically.
Oh, sometimes I have water too. Like
Hmm.
sometimes it's just really hot.
Yeah.
I like how you're detailed about everything, and overall, the sum up of this is that, if you don't go through any experiences or don't fail at any experiences, you're not living life. You're stagnant. You're not taking any risks. You're not changing. You're not growing. You're just in your comfort zone to the extreme. Like if you have a routine, you have this job, like let's say you didn't even go to school. And it's not to judge people who go or not go, but just as an example, let's say you're like 9 to 8 instead of 9 to 5, 9 to 8, come home, eat dinner, watch TV, go to sleep, do the same thing again tomorrow for 5 days a week. On the weekend, you just, you do something else that is not even productive. So it's like you're kind of not nourishing yourself. And a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this. I don't know the statistic, but there are people who are not really living their life. They're not meeting new people. They're not, and COVID is not an excuse. I feel like COVID is a blessing. It's whatever you make of it. This is disregarding. This doesn't include, losing loved ones and things that are more severe, but as in you can use virtual opportunities and things. So I know you've been speaking. So tell us more about that, and that how do you feel about, speaking your truth now that you feel like you weren't able to voice before, right?
Yeah. And it's really freeing. It's like it's really getting grounded,
Mhm.
Pratiba, in my purpose in life. It's kind of like I've changed my platform basically, right?
Mhm.
Now, I thought I was going to be changing my platform and not working with couples anymore, but honestly, there's more couples that are coming to me, right?
Wow.
And really, I love doing couples work. I love that energy and between two and making that emotionally safe. Actually, I'm going to be on, and I can give you the link if you want me to, but I'm going to be one of the speakers, 21 speakers of a marriage summit. And I almost like
Wow.
didn't I almost said no to this because it's called the Sizzling Hot Marriage Summit. I'm thinking,
Wow.
wait a minute. But I am one of the speakers, how to get beyond messy relationships, right?
Yeah.
And we need, because so many people can come to stuff like this,
Mhm.
and you can get your hopes up, but if husband's resistant to this and doesn't participate, I mean, it can be really heartbreaking, right? It can be
Mhm.
heartbreaking that, or this gut punch, this, a lot of women are just, doing the relationship work, right? We're just hoping and
Yes.
praying and all of that. But anyway, so I'm part of this. I'm excited about it. And
Wow.
but yeah, I want to give people an opportunity to live in a greater level of awareness and being intentional and taking risks of growth, of course. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And I know the last time when I met you and we spoke, you said that, this is time for you. Your kids are grown now, you're a single woman, and I don't know your, age estimate, but the fact that this is now your you time. Did you not have time to yourself like this, all those years?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right? Like you did not,
I
right?
need to let people know. Yeah, I raised 4 kids. So when you have 4 kids and they're either like, 2 years
Yeah.
apart or 3 years apart during your childbearing years until they're from, at least 18 and beyond, really, at the 18 and beyond, you have limited time.
Wow.
And whether you're a career woman, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to raise
Mm.
4 human beings or 2 human beings or 1 if you're a mom. Okay, so
No,
so I
thanks.
really want to so
I
I
will
love
not
your
be raising
question.
kids.
I love your question. Now, here's the thing. So their dad and I lived far away from family. So I know if you've got folks from, and you yourself, international, living and experiences. And I know it's
Mm.
just different here in the United States, but, I went to college. That's where we met. And I live 700 miles away from my family of origin. And so
Wow.
anytime we would go out, it would have to be paid for babysitters. But if you have a family system, around you and you're a young mom, definitely surround yourself with that. But there's times, yeah, when you bring these babies into the world, and it takes all your energy, and your whole identity is wrapped up in being a mom. I think it was for me for the longest time.
Yes.
Actually, it was for me, and I'll tell you, Pratibha, last May I woke
Mhm.
up because Mother's Day has been like sacred for me every year. And if
Mm.
something went awry on Mother's Day, it would just really upset me. But I got up this Mother's Day and I went out to my back porch and I said, "Oh, I am so much more than a mother."
Wow.
I'm so much more. And I woke up, and I've been a relationship person all of my life. So, like at this stage in my life, more than any other, okay, as an adult, you need to understand. So, I graduated high school. I went right into college. Then I got married at 22. Then I
Wow.
started having babies. And then, everything is around pleasing others. And I know a lot of us deal
Mhm.
with this, right? And then, your kids leave the nest. Oh, well, who am I? Or you lose your marriage. Oh, who am I? Right. And
Mhm.
then oh, I got to have a husband. I got to have somebody. And that was, I don't know, a subconscious mentality. Although I loved partnering with my husband. We met through ballroom dancing and we had so
Aw.
much fun. I had more fun in that second marriage than I think in my entire life. We went to we were canoeing and hiking. We did so many fun things together. We camped, and I really miss that, about him
Mm.
now.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, well, how do I do my life? How do I have these adventures? And can I
Mhm.
have fun as an uncoupled woman? I'm not looking to remarry or be in any kind of romantic relationship at all. Not at
Woo!
all. I just like, I'm getting to know myself,
That's right.
getting to know myself in ways. There's a lot of people that they get to know, like one of your guests, Maggie was her name.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Maggie.
I loved that she was a young woman, went to Nepal, got really grounded in her purpose, and then met her husband after that. Like
Yes.
that's a really good way to do it. Get really grounded with who you are, what your purpose is.
Yes.
But for me, I didn't do that. I just like I'm trying to find my purpose through my husband, right?
Mhm.
Or my
Mhm.
family or whatever. And it's kind of like when you do raise a family, it's kind of, I think probably maybe a lot of your listeners will relate to this, but I had what you call the social engineering issue.
Mhm.
And I can do that even now, right? But it's kind of like you write a script and you're the
Mhm.
director of this play, and you've written the script and you give everybody their roles that they're supposed
Mhm.
to play, and they don't play their roles right. So I had to let go of that control and realize, okay, I need to invest in Judy. Who is Judy
Mhm.
Herman? Ooh, and I've changed my name about what 2-3 times already. Like that's like that's why you go to my website. It's judycounselor.com. Well, I don't need to put
Mhm.
too much identity into being a counselor either. I'm just, who I am. And I love just growing and hanging out with people like you,
Aw.
Pratibha, because I admire you being a young woman and getting really grounded in your purpose. Like that's
Wow.
so cool. I'm discovering mine now. Yeah.
That's right. And I
Mhm.
have decided that to live a child-free life. I have been grounding and decided that because I care about my mental health.
Yeah.
So I decided because I want to be a doctor. I'm going to grad school and then by 35, have my doctorates, but then career building try together. So, and I'm giving my time to the world, not just,
Mm.
I will work with kids, but I don't have to bring them home. Like I won't be raising any. So I may want to, maybe if I decide later on to adopt, that's a different story, someone who's older. But other than that, I don't plan on raising any kids. And that's, a lot of women can't say that. I
Yeah.
remember I went to the doctor and I said that, and it's like people may feel some type of way, but that's none of anyone's business but my own, because you can kill yourself, about with your mental health if you want
Mhm.
through that process, because what society wants, but it won't be me. I've been
Mhm.
through too much. I've already been caregiver for my
Mhm.
parents. So
Mhm.
I don't feel
Mhm.
like the rest of my life I need to give care to raising kids when I've already done that like all my life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just, it's just a lot. It's like that part of my life after building my career, building Chai together, is for me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's not for anyone else. I've already done my responsibility.
Well,
So
you know what? And it sounds to me like your decision has been well thought out,
yeah.
pondered. You could you thought through this, but so many
Hmm.
of us, we just kind of like, oh, we just kind of
So we're
we operate by our hormones and our
yeah.
sex appeal, or whoever is like, oh, or fear, like,
Hmm.
oh, if I don't marry this guy, then who will
Hmm.
I not find somebody better than that? But just so crazy, because we
Hmm.
only have this like craziness, but that's the way
Hmm.
we think, right? Sometimes. And so mhm.
I like that. Yeah, honestly, I just want to say, because, after seeing everyone's stories, I think that has helped me mold my decision as well. And seeing parents in stores and how, it's just no thanks. Like my answer is no thanks. It's a fact that people are not even able to take care of themselves, and then to be responsible for another human being. You have to be very mindful about that, because I remember I saw, like, it was online regarding two people, who one was had children, one, the other one was not sure. And
Mhm.
the one who had children said, don't overthink it. That was her response. But you have to think about it.
Mhm.
You didn't
Mhm.
overthink it. That's why you have four kids. Like, not you, I'm saying the lady. So you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be the norm, right? Like
Mhm.
marriage, kids, but other people don't think otherwise. Like, there's other ways to live as well. There's plenty of women out there who don't, and have nonprofits or other things. And Maggie did that for years, until now she has, on her second child. But it's not something she planned. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. But I like the word that you use, beyond, a lot. And, like your book, Beyond Messy Relationships. So do tell us about your book, and show us your book. And how
Yes.
long did it take for you to write that? Like, and all your emotions, like, what was the process? Like, did you need a therapist of your own? you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have had a therapist of my own, and I've had other, people in my life throughout the years, like spiritual
Mhm.
directors and everything. And actually, this book, yeah, Beyond Messy Relationships, it
Yeah.
is, it's my most
Mhm.
therapists who write books on, they will write about the intense and dramatic stories of their clients. For me,
Mm.
I decided to write my own intense and dramatic story. So it's
Wow.
partly memoir, but also I show up as a therapist, and I get people really grounded in their own lives. So it's
Mhm.
like my life that illustrates a much greater truth that other people, even though they may or may not identify with some of my personal experiences. And so
Wow.
yeah, how long did it take me to write it? Well, see, here's the thing. I have, and did I need a therapist? Yes. And I had a wonderful structural editor, and she was like a therapist to me. She was so good. She was so good. She said, Judy, it's not
Mhm.
what's happened to you. Let's see, how did she say it? It's not what happened to you. It's not what's been done, but what you do with it. Yeah,
Mm.
so yeah, I'm very vulnerable, like very vulnerable in this memoir, and in my story, and it was freeing to me. It was freeing. So I have had a habit and a custom of writing for many years, but
Wow.
just not publicly. Like I
Yeah.
write in journals. That was way I think a lot of where my mental health was perhaps more grounded, and I could see my own growth, and just
Mm.
spiritually see myself developing through my years of journal writing. And there were some some real transitions in my life too, which you'll read about. But every one of these, so it is, I use the analogy of dance, because that is where I met my second husband, is through ballroom dancing. But dancing has been such a freeing thing, and it represents the flow of life, the flow of emotions. No, I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much analogy in it. And then I identify certain dances that people do. Like
Wow.
there's well, we all want to get to what you call the, like, in ballroom dancing, you synchronize. So like if you have, you might have a power control dance, you might have a shame facade dance. But we want people to get to the growth resilience dance. So as I wrote this book, the catalyst for me to write it was my second husband's mental health crisis. Took him out of tune with reality, a season of psychosis in which I was nearly a twice divorced therapist then, or a widow, because it was in a horrible car accident that almost took his life, and 2 hospitalizations back to back. So that was a catalyst for me to write the book. And he was, as I wrote it, he was actually my biggest cheerleader, because whenever your brain is on fire, so to speak, when you go through a psychotic episode, I mean, there has to be a season of like, healing. And so we were partners and tried to help him through that. But anyway, so the epilogue in this book, it leaves you with hope. But throughout the book, you don't know whether I'm going to be a twice divorced relationship therapist or not. And then, of course, after the book came out, and it was in 2020 when my second husband did experience another mental health crisis that, in which he never recovered from. So the marriage was not sustainable, and it was a huge loss. But COVID and his brother passing away suddenly, and a lot of things, a lot of factors. So there's another book coming.
Wow.
As the story is not over, but you'll hopefully have some hope. And because, like I said, it's really grounded in some great therapy. Some people read the book and they say, Judy, I feel like I'm getting therapy from you and I'm not even paying you for it. It's not a substitute for therapy, but if you wanted to get a book for you and your therapist, it would be great therapy for you.
Wow. Can you, regarding the book, are you able to, collaborate with organizations, like mental health organizations? Like, have you looked into that? I think that's a great idea, to reach out to other therapists about your book, as recommending it to their clients.
Absolutely. I'm in the process of all of that. Of course, when you go through your own trauma, such as what I did in 2020, I didn't, I didn't plunge forward with the marketing piece of it. I just needed time to,
And that's okay.
Yeah. And so it's really just been within the last few months, actually, it was me getting involved in Les Brown's Power Voice, which is where you and I met. And I think that was a real turning point for me. I knew that I needed to keep living my life well, but not just keep living my life well. But so I've got to share this. I don't know if you're familiar with the play Hamilton and Disney's rendition of it.
It's been so long. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, my daughter said, Mom, you need to watch this show, or, on Disney, whatever. I didn't want to pay for Disney Plus,
right? It's like $80. I'm like, oh my God. It was free before.
But I finally watched the play. And see, I'm not really used to watching shows by myself, because Joe and I watch shows together. But I finally watched it weeks later. And then the last scene of Eliza Hamilton singing, they were singing "Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Her Story." Oh my God, the tears just flowed. But the words in her song were, I stopped wasting time on tears. I live another 50 years. And then she lists all the things that she accomplished. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop this grief. I'm going to stop wasting my time on tears. That was a real turning point for me, Pratibha. And then God just placing Les Brown in my path, and then John Tallarico in my path. And then there's another thing. So I'm investing in me. I'm determined to live my biggest life ever. my
Wow.
biggest life ever, without trying to please anyone in my
Mm,
family. Like, you don't know how freeing this is. You don't know how freeing it is. Maybe you do to a certain extent,
mhm.
but yeah, this, 40 years of marital experiences, 2
Wow.
husbands, 4 kids,
I don't know how you do
5
it.
grandkids. I still have my kids and my grandkids, they're still here. I love them. And they're watching now me emerge, like
Wow.
taking off. And so there I am. It is what it is. It's kind of like, oh, I just lots and lots of changes going on.
I'm sure that, it inspires them. And, there may be like in other families, family members who are not supportive. What are you doing? Like I've seen movies and different, even real life scenarios where, it's like, what are you doing? You're too old for this, or you're being ashamed to our family by, let's say if someone wants to start a new career or do whatever, like, oh, you're putting shame to our family, or you should just be retired. And you know what I mean? Like the children, being verbally abusive to the parents who sacrificed their life so they
Mhm.
can grow into a nice adult, but now they want to live for themselves, and the children are the one bashing them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's I'm sorry, but I would have to separate myself and be like, you know what? I did what I need to do. Now it's time for me to live my life. And
Mhm.
it's sad.
Yeah, that's the thing. And children who grow up,
Hmm.
and there's so many dynamics within a family. First of all,
Hmm.
a lot of dynamics, and there's a whole lot that it's not just the family, but it's from maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe 20 generations back, stuff that's been passed down, right?
Hmm.
And so someone who is, choosing to live their authentic life, and
Hmm.
you're going to be going against this family system that's been in place, you're really changing your family tree. But
Mm.
um
Wow.
but see, here's my hope.
Hmm.
What when they see mom or dad, for that matter, but whoever in the family that is breaking the mold, they're really proud. They can become proud. Maybe they're resentful at the beginning. The
Mm.
more that you become you yourself, if you're in this category like I am, the more you
Mm.
become more grounded in your truth and confident, and it shows, and you don't have this residue of, engaging in the
Mm.
negativity with them. The more that, like, it just rolls off your back, the more that you hope and even see their best selves.
Mm.
That's inviting them into their bigger selves as well.
Wow.
And so you're just like, you're living at a different plane, Pratiba. You're living at a different plane, and then you're inviting them to grow in their adult lives. And
Mm.
that's a beautiful legacy as a mom or a dad or whoever you are. If you've got grown children
Mhm.
that are criticizing you or whatever, the best thing to do is get yourself grounded and model growth to them.
Wow.
Mhm. Mhm.
I love your mhm.
Yeah. I
It's
love
so
your
beautiful.
wow. Your wow is what makes me go, "Mhm."
I need to make sure it's wow. So I don't even mean to see what you're doing to my subconscious, but I everything you said sounds just so beautiful. And I feel like because you chose to be a mental health counselor as a career, the way you describe things in detail you have and the proficiency I feel like came from your career. Now you're combining that with your own experience and your book, and now you're starting to coach, and it's all coming together. So it all happened for you in that way. Do you feel that way? Like it all goes well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, and this is a really good exercise really for anyone, but I do
Mhm.
help my clients do like a timeline of their life.
Wow.
And when they do a timeline of their life, and they can identify certain things that have been turning points for them. We
Mm,
all have them. Every
mhm.
one of us have turning points. If you're a human being, you will have this. Okay.
Yes.
And so when you can identify that
Mm,
and you can connect some dots, you'll see a similar theme. Actually, with me writing my book, the
mm,
whole journey of writing, it was, and then now I'm seeing, oh, all right, here's my story. I mean, I was one of 4 kids. No, I didn't write this all in the book, but here I come from a long line of having, and multiples of 4. So
Mm,
my mom was one of 4 kids, my grandmother was one of 4 kids, my great-grandmother, and I
wow.
had 4 kids, and there was a time when I just had 4 grandchildren. Well, now I've got 5. But
What are they doing? They need to stop.
no, but the reality is that I have been surrounded with relationships all of my life. There's a picture of when I was a little girl, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I'm with my
Mhm,
cousins, and I have this, I have binoculars around my neck. So my
mhm.
interpretation of that picture is that I've been curious about relationships ever since then, right? And
Wow.
here I have had messy relationships throughout my life. And I mean, the divine invitations to your authentic self. It's like I have grown spiritually. I'm very grounded as, evolving in my
Mhm,
faith and being so secure that God loves me
mhm,
so much. And so yes, the husbands that I've had and the experiences that I've had has raised my level of awareness, and they are exactly the people I needed to be with. Like the universe blessed me with these
mm.
grandchildren. The universe blessed me with this first husband and second husband to get me to
Wow.
this point. Yes, to see a bigger picture. And that's what I try to help people do, is to see, you know what? The stuff that you're seeing right now, the stuff that you're experiencing right now, there's a bigger picture. You just don't know what it is yet.
Mhm.
Yet. Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did you ever have encounter any clients yet who are just super negative? I mean, the people you work with, um, in coaching, you can come across people who are not there yet at that level, mindset wise, like how you and I are from all, the programs you've been in, and others are not who would want to be your clients. So have you encountered people who just have a negative mindset, and then it's your job to take them through and transition that into an optimistic one?
Well, anybody that comes to counseling or coaching,
Hmm.
and anybody that comes to any kind of healthcare worker, it's their job, it's the client's job, the patient's job, whatever, to make the changes. You can invite them, you can raise their level of awareness,
Hmm.
but counselor never does that for anybody. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there.
Mm.
So I can invite them and I can model that. So when they see that, it's kind of like when my book came out, and it did have Author Academy Awards, top 10 finalists. I'm very proud of that. But when it came
Wow.
out, I was scared to death. My clients were going to read it. And they were going to say, and why are we seeing her as our therapist? Because I am very vulnerable.
Mm.
But the opposite has been true, because I've had clients read it and they say, wow, Judy, I had no idea. And if you've gone through this, I know I can. So it's like
Wow.
my own journey and my own vulnerability has been an
Mm.
invitation, because what they see here and now is not the Judy 1.0 that
Yeah.
they may be at,
Aw.
at that stage, right? It's like
Mhm.
there's been this evolution. And so I can relate to where they are, and I
Mm.
encourage them to get unstuck, because we need to keep growing as wherever we are on our timeline, and
Wow.
whatever and so that's does that answer your question?
Yeah, like yeah. What was my question?
Your question, I think, was about people who come in negative, and
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
how do I
Yeah.
handle that or bring them to a different plane of
Mhm.
relating, right? I let people know, because there's this,
Yeah.
you and I have heard John Tallarico say that
Mhm.
we all have this committee, right? We have a committee,
Mhm.
and I use that a lot. I took that from him. I think it's brilliant because it works with
It
clients.
suits
But
you.
yeah, yeah. And so we have this harsh negative critic in our head. And that
Mm.
harsh critic in our head, which we call the committee, they're going to show up and they're
Mhm.
going to say, "Who are you to blah 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 blah?" And don't you
Mhm.
remember da 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 da? And
Mhm.
you're not worth anything. So letting a person realize, oh, you know what? It's human. We all have this
Mm.
committee that shows up. I've been there too. And let's see if we can divert our attention to not
Mm.
listen to that committee and listen to the truth about who you are. And what I tell people, no matter where they are, no matter
Mhm.
where they are, I don't judge them. Only
Mhm.
God can judge their hearts, because of what they've been through. To me, when a person shares with me their story,
Mm.
It is like, oh, so, yeah, Emily said the monkey mind. Yes. When people share their story, it's like sacred. It's
Mm.
sacred and it's holy. It's like holy ground because they trust this counseling process. They
Yes.
trust this coaching process. And and they realize, you know what, you're not alone. This is a human journey.
Mm.
So if a person comes in and they're negative, there's a reason that they are. It's because of their
Mhm.
neural pathways in their brain. They've exercised that. It's kind of like going
Mhm.
to the gym every day and exercising your muscles, and you got that negativity muscles that's really, really strong. And what we
Hmm.
need to do is we need to strengthen the positivity ones because the negativity will bring you into anxiety and depression.
Hmm.
Ruminating about negative things, ruminating about the past is the worst thing you can do for your mental health.
I
So how to
believe
help
so.
them to be mentally healthy and be aware.
It's so beautiful listening to you. I was a bit lost. That's why I was like, what was my question? But to clarify is, I mean, just for regarding the coaching clients, like your own business, because not every client will suit you, like there's some
Right.
people. Yeah. So what I mean is like the people that you accept, it's like, what if someone's just nasty and being negative, maybe taking it out on you? Like, is that a client that you would work with?
Mm,
No,
it's
right?
not because,
Yeah.
actually in my counseling agreement, they read the counseling agreement ahead of time, and they know who they're getting because I mean, they see videos of me, they know who I
Yeah.
am, they know whether or not they're gonna be a good fit or not
Yeah.
before they even contact me. But even
Mm.
within the counseling agreement, it's kinda like, well, we have this mutual trust and respect. And so, yeah, I generally don't. Now, early on, before I was this clear, before I had all those videos out and
Mhm.
blogs and book and all of that stuff, I would basically be getting anybody that the insurance company would send to me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've got some stories about that. Maybe that'll be another book I write
It
about. Yeah, I've
should.
had people like be really angry with me, I mean, you have that because
Wow.
people are wounded, and whatever it is you say that triggers them, I mean, you can make them mad really easy, and you don't mean to, but
Wow.
that happens. But it's not me, it's me, like, trying to be gentle and give them the truth. But yeah, actually, no, I've had some people even recently, actually, that yeah, have gotten angry. But you know what, we work with that because that's good therapy, to be able to stay in that quote unquote difficult emotion
Mm.
and not exit from it, but to be
Mm.
curious about it and where does that come from. Yeah.
Wow.
But respect is very important. When a person gets to a point where they don't respect me or the therapy process, I just let them know we're wasting our time and money here. I let them
Mm.
know that, and they can choose whether to
Wow.
trust.
Because, excuse me, the money is not worth it to get your time and energy to someone who's being that way, you know? Like I wouldn't want the money, it's not it's not worth it.
Right, right. Yeah, it's not about the money. It's really about the person
Mhm.
to work through whatever that trigger was that lowered that that trust,
Mm.
or to talk about what was it that I said that
Mhm.
triggered perhaps the subconscious something that happened in the past that might have
Wow.
maybe reminded them of a mother or something, that whatever, or personality differences or whatever. But
Hmm.
stay with them and help them to explore it is
Yeah.
a very good thing, and they can choose either to stay or not. But that is
Mm.
worth, for
Mhm.
some folks, it is worth their investment to stay in that difficult emotion, to explore
Wow.
it. Where does that come from? And what's that all about? And how can I grow beyond and through it?
I like that, beyond and through it. Keep using your lines.
Okay, I'll do
And
that.
this really reminds me of, there's many people I come across who don't, there may be people who don't believe in therapy or who went one time, they didn't like it, so they never went back. But people have to remember, you have to find someone who works for you. A lot of people don't take that time. Or this just makes me think that people who do go once or twice and then, or however many times, they're like, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working, it's because they actually don't want to do it. As in, like you were talking about them staying in the game, like they may go twice, three times. Oh, this is not working. They just wanted me to, do this something so easy I could do myself, and they won't have that guidance because you're not able to do it yourself. That's why you're in therapy, to have somebody guide you,
Hmm.
for example. But this really just brings to my attention that it's because people are not ready to be in therapy. That's the real answer, you know?
Yeah, and again, we look at this. This is not in vain that you came to the therapy when you did, if you're not
Hmm.
ready for it, because what you're doing is you're planting seeds.
Mm.
And perhaps those seeds will be like in 2 years or 6 months or 2 weeks for that matter. They
Mhm.
might go to another therapist, they may come back.
Mhm.
So none of that is in vain if you quote unquote get the wrong client or the wrong therapist. It's kind of like going back to what I talked about with the video. You didn't marry the wrong person, you didn't find the
Mhm.
wrong therapist. It's just that you discovered what your needs were a little bit more clearly.
Wow.
Hmm.
I like all of this. Would you like to share anything else today?
Wow. Well, I am wide open. I do want to give hope. I want to give hope to your listeners and people who are watching, because
Mm.
so many people don't really. I mean, like you said, I want to go back to a comment that you made
Mhm.
because so many people don't live their lives on this journey of growth and
Mhm.
fullness, and they get stuck. And it reminded me of what Les Brown had said too. So many people, they die, I don't know, when they're 35, but they don't get buried
Mhm.
until they're 75 or something. I
Mhm.
thought, well, that's a
Yeah,
pretty good line.
it really is.
We
Yeah,
miss
when you're 25.
we miss our lives. Miss those magic moments. And if you are a young mom and you are stressed out, get some help. Take some deep breaths because you are, I don't want to like guilt anybody because we all like
Yeah.
get that way at times, but we don't want
Mhm.
to miss our children growing up, right? And we don't want to miss our lives. And it's so very important to make sure that you show up on this journey of growth. You're not perfect and nobody is. Let's stop even trying to be that way. It's like crazy. That's unintelligent thinking. Practice does not make perfect. Practice
No.
makes progress. I
Mhm.
love that
I
term.
remember that.
Yeah, see, I took a lot from our wonderful mentor, Les Brown. But
Mhm.
yeah, we need to just do it imperfectly. And you know what? You're a remarkable human being because you are deeply loved and valuable and worthy of respect. And that's going to make a difference in your relationships and how you
Mm.
can relate there. Yeah. So and I do have some resources. Of course, I mentioned earlier. Of course, you can get my book where books are sold, but if you've got a US address, you can always go to my website and ask for a author signed copy. And then I have the relationship stress quiz. But I am absolutely excited about the Subi coaching program.
I like that. Subi.
Yes.
Subi to be.
Yeah.
Tell
Show
us
up.
what the acronym is for again.
It's show up and be you. Show
Wow.
up and be you. Stop walking on eggshells and live your
Mhm.
true life. That's my little tagline there. But I will tell you this. So it's structured in a way that how
Mm.
I wrote my book too. I talk a whole lot. This is one of the best things you can do for your mental health is take a deep belly breath and go all the way to the top of your lungs and then slowly breathe out. Do that. Slow things down when you get
Mm.
stressed. Slow things down when you get keyed up. And the acronym for air, breathing fresh air. So many of us are breathing toxic air in our relationships, but we
Mhm.
need to breathe fresh air. Go outside and take some deep breaths. But you've got the A in air is awareness,
Mm.
raising your level of awareness. When things are tough, if you can go outside and just look up at the sky and look at the clouds and take a deep breath and just say and thank God for the clouds and the sky and the
Mhm.
whatever is going on. Thank in a global way. Just
That's
offer that
right.
praise and thanks. So awareness is first, and the I in the word AIR is
Mhm.
intentionality because nothing changes unless you have intentions and a plan to move forward and to make
Wow.
time to do that. Take at least no less than 10 minutes, 5 minutes if you can't even take 10 in the morning, but take time to breathe some air and really be intentional to meditate, to pray, to make a list of maybe one thing that you can do differently to nurture your heart and your soul. And then the third, the R in risk, I'm the R in air is a risk of growth. We got to
Mhm.
take risks, but we take risks, not foolish ones. We take ones that are based upon awareness, increased
Mhm.
awareness and intentionality. When you've got that
Mhm.
in place and taking risks of growth. Maybe that's calling a friend and saying and being real with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like because so many people are like suffering in their marriages and their best friend doesn't even know about it
Wow.
and asking for some help, but we all get in this, we listen to the committee too much, right? We get in
Mm.
this small place of shame. Oh, if they only knew this. But it was a huge risk of growth for me to write this book. It was like, but anyway, life is filled with risks, but we got to have risks and we've all taken them. We just, we don't realize that we have, right? Up to now we have.
I can see you having your own show, just hearing you talk forever. Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like Ellen was still doing the show. She's not, but like I see on Ellen, on Oprah, just like, on TV. Like you just have
hey,
it in you, that personality,
I'm going
you
to
have
listen
a
to
TV
that.
face. Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that. I will tell you this. Here's what's new is that I am going to be producing a podcast
Oh,
and
look
I
at
have a
that.
team that's going to be doing that. I don't know the name of it yet. It'll probably be
Mhm,
something with Beyond Messy Relationships in it somewhere. And
mhm,
so I'll be doing a weekly podcast. I'm going to be having guests and I will have influencers in my field,
mhm.
marriage and family mental health and other things. So I'm excited about that. And then another book is coming. So I'm telling you, those are things that are in the works. But it's
Yes.
been a delight because you know what? You're really encouraging me, Pratiba. I love it. I love your questions and love how you're encouraging
You
me.
should do it. The time is now, right? Like
Yeah.
I was speaking to a friend earlier and I was going in on them as in like hopefully inspiring them that, you have to live life. Yes, slow things down, but urgency as in like, regarding career or something, if you're miserable, like the change is now. Like, you can't live like that's not living, you're dying. And I said it
Yeah.
just like that. And, it may be harsh or direct, but some people need to hear the truth that, it's about your life, not what others' expectations are about you. And there are people who need the coaching and things who aren't there yet, who need that push and that transformation because their thinking is that practical 40 thinking still, or however they were raised. And that's not what it is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
not realistic. And to kill yourself over a job and things like that, I just don't believe in that. You can put
No.
that energy into something you love to do, like a business, something you want to do. Use that same energy and you'd be happy with what you do. So
Absolutely.
and yeah, you definitely have the vibe for a TV show. So
Oh, thank you. I do have some speaking engagements coming up. Number one is the online Sizzling Hot Marriage Summit, and I can give you a
mhm,
link for that.
mhm,
Have you put it in your show
mhm.
notes if you'd like. And then also I'm going to be speaking at the it's called the Wild Goose Festival, and I guess
Oh
a bunch of people,
wow.
and that's in Hot Springs, North Carolina. So if you're in that area, yeah,
Wow.
I'm going to be speaking there, and it's a justice music and artist festival, and people from all over
Wow.
come to it. But you have to.
When is that?
That's actually it's going to be September the 2nd through the 5th.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's the 27th now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
next week.
coming up.
Next weekend. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm excited.
amazing. Well, there are people in our group who are in Carolina.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you should make a post and I guess, like pay Power Boys members, who was in Carolina. I remember Pele was, Yashika was, I think some other people maybe, but
Yeah.
I want to say just, I know you said you're looking for a title, but I like, how you said beyond the thought. So maybe something with that, like for your podcast, like I like how you had said, whatever you said, you could go back and replay this when you watch, if you do, and
Okay.
listen to the
Definitely.
part when you said like something beyond the thought. Like, I like that, you know?
Okay. I'll figure that out. I'll go
Yeah.
back and rewind it.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for those tuning in. Emily, thank you especially. And this is great. So thank you
All
so much.
right. Thank you. And yeah, people can reach me. And oh, you've already got it up there on your screen,
Mhm.
judycounselor.com. So
Yes.
yeah, do
Thanks
reach
for
out.
pointing that out. You are great at marketing because I love how you always have to recite your website, things on your website and stuff. That is what everyone should do because you're putting yourself out there and it's important to because it's your self-worth, it's the work you do, you have the knowledge, it's to remind people and get in their subconscious that hey, this is what I do. I want to help you. It's not about it's not all about finances. It's really about making the change, for me at least. And I believe for you that to make that impact, well, people will remember you after you're gone. That is the whole point of this, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I so
So,
appreciate you hosting, and you know what? You have had some remarkable guests, Pratibha, and I
yeah.
just love your spirit of curiosity and your line of questions. It just, you have a beautiful way of bringing out this comfort level with your guests and with me
Wow.
for sure. I just feel like there's this freedom that I can be me on your
Hmm.
program, and I wanna tell you, thank you so much for hosting me. I've really enjoyed it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love this. I'm great at what I do.
You
It's all
are.
natural. Nothing is
Yeah.
planned. I can pick like one line of topic and I could talk about that for a long time. Like I keep digging deeper, deeper naturally because yeah, I naturally care about people and stories. And I always had this in me, but right, we didn't have the confidence to do it. Now I do it so naturally. I don't need any note. Like I never need notes or anything. I just
Mhm.
talk to it could be whoever. I may not even know them and they feel the same way. Everyone feels at home, like
Yeah,
you could be yourself, like no one's judging you.
and that's what Chai Together is all about. It's what
Yeah.
it's all about, and you're the one that needs a TV show, girlfriend.
Yes, I see myself on TV. I definitely do. I definitely do.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
Alright, you take care.
Bye.
Bye.